Today is February the 25th. What do we do when Scripture doesn't make sense? Let's find out together as we study Jesus' ministry. Today I'd like you to read on in the story of Jesus and his disciples. If you would, please finish chapter 13 of Matthew. Matthew 13, 44 to 58. Mark 4, 35 to chapter 5, verse 20. And Luke 8, 19 to 39. Now, in this hodgepodge of paragraphs, Jesus begins with a few more parables. Then in Matthew 13, 53 to the end of the chapter, says that simply that Jesus was rejected in his hometown of Nazareth. The people said, well, I knew him when he was growing up. There's nothing special about him. Not because they were looking at what he was doing now, but they remembered when he was a boy learning carpentry from his father. In Mark chapter 4 and also in Luke, we have the story of Jesus calming the storm. At the end of that, the disciples are amazed. Mark 4, 39. Jesus woke up and he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Silence, be still." Suddenly the wind stopped and there was a great calm, and he asked them, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" And the disciples were absolutely terrified. "Who is this man?" they ask each other. "Even the winds and the waves obey him." Now Luke tells that same story. And then it goes right into the story of Jesus exorcising a demon from a man that was totally possessed by this demon. Now in that story, Jesus makes his way a little bit into the territory. He's no longer in Jewish territory. He is on the other side of the Sea of Galilee, or Lake Gennesaret. And the man that comes to him from the tombs that they had. This man, possessed by demons, would strip himself naked, uncover the corpses of the recently dead, and then sleep with them. What a life. The people of the town would bind him, and he had such incredible strength that he would break the bindings and go back to doing what he was doing. Well, Jesus saw him. He had compassion on him. He told the demon to leave him. That's the story when the demons speak to Jesus and they say, "Let us go into that herd of pigs over there." And Jesus, being a good Jew, thinks, pigs? Demons? That's a good combination. And so he allows it, and the entire herd of pigs literally commit suicide. They rush into the sea and they're drowned. We started this passage with the question, what do we do when Scripture doesn't make sense? These stories in Mark and Luke make perfect sense. But Matthew tells these very stories earlier. There's a different order in Matthew. Matthew, in Matthew chapter 8, also said there were 2 demoniacs that Jesus cast the demons out of. There's a difference in the order, and there's a difference in the details of the story. The person who would read this is probably going to ask, why? And I'm going to give you my answer. I don't know. I don't know. Because this doesn't make sense to me. This difference in details, this difference in order, I don't understand what Matthew is doing here. But I'll tell you what, I've studied Scripture long enough to know that usually when I don't understand what Scripture is saying, the problem is not in Scripture, the problem is in me. I just think this is one of those cases. What do I do when Scripture just doesn't make sense? Well, personally, I accept that I don't understand everything. And I don't understand all of Scripture. I accept and look at what I do understand. I remember hearing one time a pastor saying, it's not the Scripture that I don't understand that gives me the problems. It's the Scriptures that I do understand. I'm not overly concerned by Scripture that I don't understand. I hope that one day I will gain enough wisdom to understand what's going on there. But until then, I look at the Scripture that I do understand. I've got enough on my plate just trying to believe and live according to that. Please like, follow, and subscribe to this devotional on whatever platform you used to listen to it. Email your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. Come and join us on Sunday where we continue to study 1 John.